Greetings, Dulles, and welcome to another video. I've already covered Memento in this channel twice already. I kind of wanted to do an update and a refresher of this archetype because, uh, for those who have seen my past Memento videos, you know that I'm actually an advocate fan of this archetype. I've actually done a lot of playtesting with the first wave of release from Valiant Smashers because I felt like, uh, compared to Centurion, both Valmonica and Memento were very incomplete in comparison. So, what I'm going to do today is talk about new cards that got revealed for Legacy of Destruction. For those who don't know, by the time of this recording, which is most likely going to be the time of this upload, January 27th, uh, Legacy of Destruction already got released in the OCG. In that set, we've had a lot of themes and support cards that I've been talking about this channel for the past month, and out of some of them, we did get Memento support. So what you're looking at here at the screen are all the old monsters that revolved around the Mementos, and you're noticing one new family member. That family member right here is Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. So you're probably thinking, why is a Thunder Dragon monster part of the Memento theme? That's for Konami to know more than we do. However, this is one legacy monster that we did have back in the day. This monster debuted in Metal Raiders, which was like pretty much the second Yu-Gi-Oh booster set that we've officially had. Um, Main booster set rather. And the fact that we got a fusion monster uh, as a new Memento, which is right here, kind of changes a lot of things about this archetype, and I want to cover all of them. So, when we talked about the combined creation, we noticed that it said that it returns monsters from both the main deck and extra deck. So, just by this line of text right here, we were already slated for an extra deck monster for the Memento theme. We did not know what it was going to be as of yet. It could have been a Link monster, it could have been a Synchro monster, despite us not having tuners. It could have been a Pendulum monster as well. Uh, However, we are confirmed that it is a fusion monster. And that's going to be a very big deal depending on what the fusion spell does. And we will cover that in a moment. But before we talk about the new cards including the fusion monster, one thing I want to bring up is how Memento is looking at the moment. Right now, if you play Memento or if you have played or tested Memento, you pretty much understand that the only real starters were Darkblade and the Anguish. The Mementotlan Mace is not a real starter because, despite her tutoring one card, you're trading one card for it. And in order for the maze to be very optimal, you need to have like more monsters on the board. Uh, Goblin was not a real starter. However, uh, when Phantom Nightmare debuted, we did have the added ghost, so Goblin had a little bit more value because of the ability to be able to send added ghost and added ghost being able to summon itself from the graveyard. But that still did not make it an ideal starter because it did not get you to your memento plays like more optimally. Tatsuno Chigo was not a starter before Phantom Nightmare. after the debut of Phantom Nightmare, it became a real starter because it has the ability of sending both the Angel Witch as well as the Added Ghost, and then the Added Ghost can just grab back the Angel Witch from the graveyard without being able. And you, since this was not your normal summon, you can just normal summon the Angel Wish, and then you just proceed with your plays that way. But we still had one more problem. The one more problem was that is the end goal of the deck, which is to set up Mementotlan alongside Combined Creation, alongside one of the Spell and Traps, was still a heavy investment for what you were affording, and it was super susceptible to hand traps. And like your board with just creation, field spell, and trap was not really like the strongest end board. So now that we talked about like the issues Memento are having right now and the cards that we already have slated at the moment, let's talk about the new cards. We'll start with the fusion monster first, and then I'll get to the fusion spell because you can generically make this with polymerization as well as other fusion cards. Let's read over it together. So its requirements are 2 Memento monsters, so any 2 of them. It can even be 2 of the same name, which I like this very much because if you do end up breaking with like multiples of the same name of whatever mementos that you have, you can just fuse them away into making this card. So banish any monster destroyed by battle with your memento monsters. This goes in hand with the creation, the combined creation, because now the combined creation can actually just eliminate every threat and not being able to worry about graveyard manipulation. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 memento monster from your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add up to 2 memento monsters with different names from each other from your deck to your hand. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 level 6 or lower memento monster from your graveyard. This card's fantastic. Being able to add 2 memento monsters is very huge because it means that one of those 2 monsters that you will be adding will most likely be Tatsuno Shigo. And if you understand what I mean by this, Tatsuno Shigo can get you to add a ghost. And if you have multiple mementos in your graveyard, you can retrieve one of them with added ghost. Take a note, added ghost can add you back any memento card. So if you have other memento cards that are in your graveyard that you want to get value out of with the added ghost, let's say for example you used the goblin and you dumped the Mactillan or the Bone Party or the Bone Back or like the Fracture Dance or the Combined Creation or what most likely going to be the fusion spell, you can grab them back to your hand with the added ghost. So that's also a very big deal. This can the fusion monster can grab you the combined creation, so you have access to a combined creation by itself. And between the fusion monsters and the 2 materials, that's already 3 memento monsters. So you're very close to the combined creation. Like you have the 3 monsters plus whatever you're adding and plus whatever you're destroying. So you already are 4/5 into your combined creation with just the fusion summon of the Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon being able to pop itself to grab those 2 memento cards is extra value because then you get to trigger its other effect in order to special summon back another memento, which means if any of your fusion materials involved the Dark Blade, the Angel Witch, the Added Ghost, or the Goblin, you can just resummon any of those back and they just keep your place going. This has 2800 attack, which is not small by any means. If you have the field spell and you end up fusion summoning for Twin Dragon, this can resummon another monster as well. So whatever value that you had out of your fusion summon, you grab it back and it becomes a +1. So just by the context of this fusion monster by itself, it's already really strong. I say like this is a really welcomed card for the Memento theme. Uh, so now that we talked about the fusion monster, let's talk about the new card, which is a fusion spell. The reason I spoke about the fusion first and all the value that it has is because the fusion spell is going to be the make it or break it for this archetype as a whole. Before reading this card, let's talk about fusion spells in general. As of late, uh, Konami has had this theme where they make fusion spells have graveyard effects, or they make fusion spells being able to interact with your main deck. Those are the two main gimmicks that you pretty much have to follow when it comes to fusion spells. Otherwise, like just the fusion mechanic as itself is pretty much a bit power crept because we do have very strong fusion cards like Chimera Fusion and Branded Fusion, uh, just to name two examples. Now let's talk about the new card. Let's talk about Mementotlan Fusion. So, quick play spell, very important. During the main phase, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Memento monster. This detail is very, very important. I'll cover that in a moment. If a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effects this turn, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard into your deck as material. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy one monster you control, and if you do, add one Memento spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Mementotlan Fusion once per turn. This card is amazing. This pretty much is the best card out of the like not even the best new support card. It's pretty much like the best card out of the entire archetype, and I'll explain. So the first thing to note is it is a quick play spell, and during your main phase, that is a very 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 big deal because it means that if you're trying to use your Memento monsters, uh, like to do their effects and you get hand trapped, now you have a way to dodge hand traps and just have your Memento effects like be fulfilled. Uh, One example that I'm going to give is the Dark Blade. Like Dark Blade's effect destroys one Memento you control, and if you do just specials from the deck, let's say you're trying to activate the Dark Blade, and they try to like Valor or Imperm in chain, you can chain the Mementolian Fusion, fuse away the Dark Blade. The Dark Blade will resolve, popping the Twin Dragon or whatever monster you're fusing with this. Uh in this case, it has to be the Twin Dragon because it has to pop a Memento. So you fuse, you pop the Twin Dragon, and you get to summon. You get to resolve the Dark Blade's effect, meaning that not only did you dodge your hand trap, but you also got a fusion summon out of it. And since this card got destroyed by the Dark Blade, this will trigger its graveyard effect, and you can just bring back the Dark Blade or bring back any other Memento. Uh, so that's one very very big deal. Another thing to note about this card, it says during the main phase, it could be either player's main phase. And the more important detail out of this card, and the reason I think this card is just amazing for this archetype as a whole, it says using monsters from your hand that's field as material, including a Memento monster. It does not restrict you to whatever monster you want to fusion summon. It only restricts you from using Mementos as material. So, for example, we can summon Garura, we can summon Mud Dragon, we can summon Dragostapelia, And we can even summon Guardian Chimera. As long as one of the materials is a Memento, you can just fusion summon for any of these. I'm going to move Guardian Chimera to the side for a second and talk about these three, because if you popped a Memento this turn, you can put back Mementos from your graveyard into your deck to fusion summon. So if the two materials are two Mementos, you can put back any two Mementos and just fusion summon for any of these without using materials from your hand or field, uh, which is pretty cool. Uh, Shuffling them back to your deck also gives you extra value for Twin Dragon. Let's say you have Twin Dragon and another Memento already in the graveyard, and you have the Mementolian fusion. You can fuse away Twin Dragon and another Memento from your graveyard back into your deck, and just summon Dragostapelia for free. Now let's go back to Guardian Chimera. Uh, since Guardian Chimera is fairly generic, and all you need is at least one Memento monster, you can pretty much play the same way you play the Chimera deck, like the branded Chimera fusion deck, and just keep Mementolian fusion as an interruption for your opponent on his turn, fusing away for Guardian Chimera. This also makes it so if you decide to play hand traps in this deck, uh, you can pretty much play your hand traps and they are not completely dead if they are played in the wrong matchup, or they are not have the actual utility that you want them for. You can just fuse them away for Guardian Chimera as long as one Memento is included in the fusion summon. And this is all without even talking about the really best thing about this card. The best part about this card is not even the fusion summoning aspect of it, it's the actual graveyard effect. So the graveyard effect, you banish this, pop one monster, and then you add a Memento spell traps. Take note, it says destroy any monster you control. It does not have to be a Memento. So if you ever decide in the future, just play like self-destructing monsters or play monsters that have additional value. Like one example that I can mention off the top of my head is like Kashtira Fenrir. You can summon Fenrir, grab another Fenrir, uh, and if you have Mementolian Fusion in your grave, you can pop the Fenrir, add whatever Memento spell and trap, and then you have an extra value out of that Kashtira Fenrir. And this is not even bringing up the fact that like you can just pop like other Mementos in general, and it just fulfills the other effect. Like for example, it fulfills the effect for Memento Mactillan. Uh, it also fulfills like more requirements, like for another Mementolian fusion, just a fusion summon. Uh, yeah, like this card is really strong. One other thing to bring up, that I think is very important, and it's all because of Mementolian fusion. So, in the beginning, I brought up how only Angel Wish was the starter in this archetype. Because of the existence of this card, now Angel Wish, Goblin, Darkblade, and Tatsunoshigo are all one card starters now. And that is a very big deal. Uh, Whenever a deck has a multitude of one card starters, uh, it means that it's a deck that you should be respecting in the format. Like, one really good example I can give is the branded Chimera deck. When branded Chimera first got released in Duelist Nexus, well, at least the Chimera support theme with the illusion monsters, rather, that deck only had 6 one card starters. But the 6 one card starters got you to your engine entirely. and it gave you interruption for your opponent's turn. And that deck was topping and winning regionals like in the first month after its release. So right off the bat, just having a deck that is really really consistent at its win condition and can play through hand traps if you open the red extenders and can interrupt you in your opponent's turn is already really big for something like Memento. And this is all without even mentioning Memento's actual win condition, which is the combined creation. Like if you have your combined creation setup with your Cranium Burst and your Mace and your Goblin, you're already like one step ahead of your opponent. Another thing is that just having another dynamic of this deck besides just like the combined creation itself is also really strong. Because of the existence of combined creation and cards like Boneback, this deck is very resilient to disruption. So let's say you're going second against, like, for example, like the Fire King deck, and your opponent is trying to do like the Promethean Princess. They're trying to do like interactions with Kirin. They're doing interactions with Garunix. They're doing interactions with the Amblo Whale, or they try to summon SP Little Knight on you, and they try to like disrupt you that way. Uh, because of cards like Boneback and because of cards like the Mementotlan Fusion, you have ways to play through boards easily now with your Memento cards. So will this make them like tier one contender? I don't think so. I think now Mementos are around the same power level as Centurion, which is really good to say because if you've been paying attention to this channel, Centurion is the deck I've been playing at the moment. Now there are two themes out of Valiant Smashers that actually really pique my interest for this upcoming national season. So yeah, I hope you found this video informative. I would show you one card combos with this deck, but I think a lot of other Yugi tubers have already done that. So if you wish for me to do the combos myself and just showcase you stuff that you can do with this deck, uh, I can make a follow up video. But I just wanted to talk about the cards in general and just talk theory involving Mementos because I really do like this archetype. I think I actually had high hopes that this archetype was going to be remotely successful. I was very, very sure and dead spot on that Konami was not going to like fumble the bag with this set. Like we Valiant Smashers it was not the most enticing deck building set. However, I think they did a really good job with addressing the three main deck themes. I still have not covered Valmonica in this channel. So if you are interested in me covering Valmonica, I might do it in the future. I will make whenever I make the Valmonica video, I will probably explain why I haven't touched on Valmonica, like as of yet. But right now, my eyes are on both Centurion and Memento at the moment. So that's enough of me rambling. I hope you found this video very informative and to your liking and understanding. More videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep dueling.